guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, The Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be talking about some Nutcracker retellings. Wanting to do this video for so long, and I have finally read enough retellings that I can share a bunch with you today. Nutcracker is one of my all-time favorite childhood Christmas stories. I've seen the ballet a couple times. I used to collect Nutcrackers. My dad and I would even go to thrift stores and take like kind of beat up Nutcrackers and like fix them up. I really enjoyed stories where toys came to life as a kid, as many of us did, but the Nutcracker, especially with just the magical Christmassy elements, is still so beloved to me. I even like the Macaulay Culkin ballet. It's just so good and so magical. If you haven't read the original, I highly recommend it. I have a couple different versions. They make all different kinds of versions, like shortened ones and longer ones. They are all so fabulous and so enjoyable, but today we're going to be talking about some recommendations. Okay, so we're going to start off with my least favorite, but I wanted to include it in here since there aren't that many Nutcracker retellings, and that is Winter Spell by Claire Legrand. I have like a hate to love relationship with this book. So this is one of the first Nutcracker retellings that I read. First of all, Claire Legrand's writing in this is beautiful. Like, I found the story so strange and weird, but like I couldn't stop reading it because her writing was so good. This is a very loose retelling. It starts in New York in 1899, and Clara Stoll, the mayor's ever proper daughter, leads a double life. Since her mother's murder, she is secretly trained in self-defense with the mysterious Drosselmeyer. Then on Christmas Eve, disaster strikes, her home is destroyed, and her father is abducted by beings distinctly not human. To find him, Clara journeys to the war-ravaged land of Cain, and her only companion is the dethroned Prince Nicholas, bound by a wicked curse. If they're to survive, Clara has no choice but to trust him, but his haunted eyes burn with secrets and a need she can't define. So this is a YA retelling. It is so freaking weird. I know so many people who hate this book. I will say that this book has stuck with me, not only because it's so odd and strange, but because some of the elements were cool. The land of Cain is very magical. There's like a lot of sugar elements. There are even parts where they kind of use the sugar element almost as like a metaphor for cocaine addiction. There is a very weird like Snow Queen character in here. Very good villain, but also really strange. This is just such a weird one. I think I gave this one like 2.5 stars, but if you love Nutcracker or you really enjoy like really weird books that are still written well, then you can check it out. But I wanted to put it on this list anyway. I take that back. This one is my least favorite on this list. So we have Hidden Sea by Gregory Maguire. This is one I don't recommend, but I wanted to mention it since there are so few Nutcracker retellings. So this is actually following Drosselmeyer as a young boy and how he kind of became like a Toy Maker's Apprentice. Gregory Maguire is very hit or miss. He can have some like overly dark themes. He can have some weird stuff in his books. This is an adult novel. It is not super wintry, Christmassy. It doesn't even have that many of the Nutcracker elements in here. You're really just following Drosselmeyer as a young lad. I did not enjoy this one. I did finish it, but I should have DNF'd it. So this was like a 2-star read for me, but I wanted to put it on here in case you were thinking about reading it so that you'll kind of know more what it's about. It has a beautiful cover. Definitely not a retelling, and it's not those like wintry Christmas vibes that we really enjoy. So wanted to give you the heads up. Then we have Nutcracked by Susan Adrian. This is a cute little middle grade, not exactly a retelling, but it has all the Nutcracker vibes in this. Georgie has waited for this moment her whole life to dance the part of Clara in the Nutcracker ballet. And when she finally gets the part, it's like a dream come true. Literally. Every time Georgie dances with the Nutcracker doll, she leaves the ballet studio and enters a world where everything around her, the old wooden furniture, the Christmas tree, and the carefully wrapped presents is larger than life. It's so magical, and Georgie can't wait to return again and again. Then the Nutcracker magic starts to seep into the real world, putting Georgie's friend in danger, and everything is falling apart, and it's almost Christmas. Can she save her friend, the Nutcracker, and most of all herself? This is just such a charming and cute and magical little middle grade read. I read this as an adult and I loved it. I highly recommend. Then we have The Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuznair. I actually pre-ordered this one I think 2 years ago when it came out. It was a debut novel and it has all the magical elements. The author's Instagram account is so magical and lovely. I think it's called Cozy Reads. So in this one we're in Nottingham in 1906. Marietta Stell longs to be a ballerina, but as Christmas draws nearer, her dancing days are numbered and she must marry and take up her place in society in the new year. But when a mysterious toy maker, Dr. Drosselmeyer, purchases a neighboring townhouse, It heralds the arrival of magic and wonder in Marietta's life. After Drosselmeyer constructs an elaborate theatrical set for her final ballet performance on Christmas Eve, Marietta discovers it carries a magic all of its own, a magic darker than anyone could imagine. So I really enjoyed this one. I didn't fall in love with it quite like I wanted to, but the world and all the Nutcracker elements are there. I believe this one is YA. There's a little romance in here as well, and it's just kind of like a magical, fun retelling. Then we have a Nutcracker graphic novel, which I really need to get a copy of, The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. This one follows the original story a little bit better, so if you're not familiar with the original story and there's like different elements in it, this would be a good way to dive into it. The illustrations are so fun. I really loved this beautiful graphic novel. Then we have The Toy Makers Apprentice by Sherry L. Smith, and this is a middle grade retelling slash backstory on Drosselmeyer. This has such a cute cover. So in this one we have Stefan Drosselmeyer, and he is a reluctant apprentice to his toy maker father until the day his world is turned upside down. When his father is kidnapped, Stefan is enlisted by his mysterious cousin Christian to find a mythical nut to save a cursed princess who has become a living doll of wood. Embarking on a wild adventure from the cobblestone streets of Germany to the wild steppes of Mongolia and beyond, Stefan must save Moldavia's princess and his own father from the fanatical Mouse Queen and her son, the seven-headed Prince of Mice, both of whom have sworn to destroy all who bear the Drosselmeyer name. This is such a magical, fun, cute middle grade. It follows the original Nutcracker story that has some elements that aren't in the ballet and different things like that a little bit more closely, which I really enjoyed. I loved the magical nut and the princess, and it was just really, really fun and was one that I really enjoyed. Next, we have the Enchanted Sonata by Heather Dixon Walworth, and this is another YA Nutcracker retelling. Heather Dixon Walworth writes Entwined, which is one of my favorite 12 Dancing Princess retellings, and overall she's just a beautiful, lovely writer. So in this one, Claire Stahlbaum has her future perfectly planned, marry the handsome pianist John Haller, and settle down to a full life of music. But all that changes on Christmas Eve when Claire receives a mysterious and magical Nutcracker. Whisked away to his world, an enchanted empire of beautiful palaces, fickle fairies, enormous rats, and a prince, Claire must face a magician who uses magic as spells and the future she thought she wanted. So this is a really fun retelling. Again, I feel like she really captured like the world of the Nutcracker with the sugar plum fairy and the different elements of the different worlds. I really enjoyed that. The one thing I didn't like about this one is the little romance in here was not the best. It was a lot more childish than I feel like our typical YA romances even are. So the romance itself felt a little bit more middle grade. It was a little bit more like pouty and overly angsty, and I didn't really love it. But for the Nutcracker retelling elements, and it had a lot to do with like music and piano playing, I did still really enjoy this one. Next, there is actually a short story retelling of the Nutcracker in the anthology The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This one is so unique because all of these stories are based on like tales from the Grishaverse, so from like Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows, and so they have this unique spin to them. I personally don't remember a ton about this retelling other than that I absolutely loved it because Leigh Bardugo's writing style is fabulous. This is a quick short little story that's in this anthology where the rest of the books are not Christmassy, but I highly recommend reading this time of year because it is so good and so fun, and the illustrations are amazing. Then we have The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, The Secret of the Realms, an extended novelization of the movie, and this one actually does not list an author because it's like a Disney Hyperion book. So I read this before I watched the movie, which you don't have to do that because technically this one came out after the movie, but this is so good. Sometimes these little novelization books are not my favorite, but I just really loved the take on the Nutcracker. It has beautiful illustrations, and this is just such a fun, magical retelling of the story. It follows a lot of the elements really closely, but it has its own elements as well. Like there is a war, and there's a daughter dealing with the death of her mother and secrets that she left behind. There's like a magical egg and a ball, and it is just so enchanting. I really liked the movie as well, but I thought this one was really well done, especially with all the different little illustrations and everything. So highly recommend this one. Okay, you guys, so those are all of the Nutcracker retellings that I have read so far and enjoyed. Let me know if there's any that I missed down below in the comments because I'm always looking for more. I know I have like 1 or 2 more on my radar, so I'll keep you guys updated as I read more. Let me know if you like this style of video and what you're reading right now for the holiday season. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at TheBrightSideGirl if you haven't already, and check out the description for what to watch next, and I'll see you guys next time on The Bright Side.